Today I will be conducting an interview with my friend and classmate Rose. She will be talking about discourse communities, what they mean to her, and what discourse communities she's involved in both in her hometown and at UCF. A discourse community is a group of people who share basic values and assumptions and ways of communication about those values and assumptions. Are you a student here?
Yeah, I'm a student at UCF. This is my first year. I moved from Colorado. It's kind of a change to be at UCF, to tell you the truth, because just everyone is about my same age and it's not as much diversity as I would have thought. So that's been a change.
Cool. So do you understand what a discourse community is?
I do. I know it's like a community that you interact with and you have like common terms and I understand that you can have multiple discourse communities.
Right. So expanding on that, basically what discourse communities are you involved in your own life? And basically what are their characteristics based on Swale's little paper?
I used to be a part of the synchronized swimming discourse community, and I realized that I really liked that. We had our own terms, like we had words that have a bigger meaning to them, if that makes sense. Like instead of like treading water, we'd call it egg beater.
Right.
And an outsider might not know what that means. But we had various terms so we could get ideas across very quickly and efficiently. And I really enjoyed that community, and I actually am trying to get that community back in my life right now, and I'm trying to find people with common knowledge who have common interests in starting a club synchronized swimming team at UCF. Another community I'm a part of is the lifeguarding one.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah, I really like it. We actually had to have about a 7-day training before we could become like certified. We had to learn like CPR and we had to learn life-saving techniques. So it took a while to get like assimilated into that community, but
Right.
like after the training, I feel like I'm a good part of that one too.
So you guys have like the words that are similar and you can better like understand each other with lifeguarding as well.
Exactly. And we even have whistle cues. Like one whistle is just trying to get someone's attention versus 2 is like I'm jumping in.
Right.
And then 3 whistles is like emergency, call 911. And so we can convey information really quickly just by a whistle.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Basically, with the discourse community, for everybody, it kind of affects the way they write or read. How does that affect you in your life, and what have you changed being in different discourse communities?
I have to change my type of writing. Like, I don't really do much writing for my synchronized swimming community, but even from like classroom to classroom, I change my style of writing. I researched discourse communities last semester, and we talked about how biology is so different than like English, because English didn't require me to cite my sources, but biology, they said that you have to cite your sources and like you can't use direct quotations, where in English he encouraged us to use direct quotations within our papers. So that is definitely different. And then even texting, like I use different terms, different language, just a lot more informal when I text like people in my synchronized swimming discourse community. That's very informal versus writing an email to a professor. You have to make it formal and kind of impersonal.
So, I mean, when you talk to different people, you have to almost understand which discourse community they're in and like how they're related to you, so you can talk to them and be either respected or like their friend.
Exactly. You have to know like each person and the expectations within the community.
Right. So being in the communities you're in, does it affect the way you talk to people outside of your discourse communities?
You mean like the outsiders?
Yeah, I mean, if you're in synchronized swimming, how would you talk to somebody outside of that about synchronized swimming or lifeguarding?
I have to kind of, like, I don't mean to be mean, but I have to kind of dumb it down in a way. I have to assume that they know absolutely nothing. One example is I was swimming just for fun at the pool, and a lifeguard's like, "Oh, you do synchronized swimming?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, like it's called this," and I started like talking very slowly about it.
Right.
And he actually has a sister who does synchronized swimming at a really high level, and so he's like, "Yeah, I know what that is," and he's like, "Show me this part of synchronized swimming," and he like instantly like got what I was talking about, and that was kind of a shock because I usually assume like outsiders don't know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And it was actually kind of a relief to find another member of a discourse community that I like.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
So what else in a discourse community do you like being in a discourse community, or is it sort of like awkward to be in a community? And
It depends which one. I really like it. It kind of has a sense of belonging in a way. We have our own terms, we have like our own goals, and I really like to be a part of something. Sometimes in like academic communities, it can be somewhat awkward, especially the first week of school.
Right.
You don't know the expectations of the community, and it's a lot of trial and error. And I hate doing that. That's definitely awkward.
right. Any clubs within this community in UCF?
Yeah, I am. I used to be part of IMO, which means International Medical Outreach, but I didn't really click with them because it's a medical mission club.
Right.
And they all want to be doctors, and that's not my goal. And I kind of figured out, like, my goal is just to help people, but the club is focused on, like, medical mission trips, being doctors, like, how to get into med school, and we just didn't share any of the common interests. So I kind of decided not to go this semester because I kind of felt rejected from their community. But I'm part of Psychology Society, which is more of like my goals, my major. So I'm really excited for that.
So basically in those discourse communities, you were looking for the goals between the students and their majors and what they were interested in more than like anything else.
Exactly. I wanted to have the common goals, and I just felt like IMO didn't share my values and my goals.
Okay. Now, I understand that earlier you mentioned that you moved from Colorado. How was the difference between living there and coming here and meeting new people and living in a new state?
Well, it wasn't like night and day difference, but I definitely felt like I had to adjust a little bit. Colorado is number one for like fitness and health, and I find people eat very well there.
Right.
While down here, like, they don't eat as well, and so like some of the food styles have changed. And some of my favorite places are gone, and like favorite communities within Colorado are gone. Like Boulder, Colorado, like that's where I did synchronized swimming, and that's where I'd go shopping and did most of my stuff. And then I had to kind of find that here.
Right.
And I had to transition from like Pearl Street in Boulder to like Waterford at UCF. So it's a little different, but I adjusted.
So you've almost had to find other discourse communities to be a part of, to understand other people, make friends, and...
Exactly. And another funny thing was I moved down here, and I was with a group of people who are native to Florida, and they know Florida. And they were talking about Orange Blossom Trail, and they were making jokes, like, oh, let's go on Orange Blossom Trail. And I had no idea what they meant. Like, I had no idea where that was. And apparently it's kind of a sketchy road around UCF.
Right.
It's like half an hour away. And in Colorado we have something called Colfax, and that's kind of the equivalent. But I didn't make that connection, and they had to actually explain it to me.
So the terminology is different as well.
A little bit, yeah. And even learning Florida, like towns, cities, I'd meet a lot of people at UCF and ask where they're from, which I probably shouldn't have because I don't know Florida.
Right.
And they would try to describe that to me, but I only know a few cities, so they'd have to really explain it in like terms of where it is on the map.
Yeah, even I live here. People have asked me, where are you from? I say Lutz, and they don't know where that is, even though they live here, and so do I. So it's kind of different because we're crazy here. We have like 70 counties and cities within cities, so
Yeah.
I understand.
And that's a different thing than Colorado because I had to get used to like counties. Colorado never uses counties.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, we have like Boulder County, but we use towns and like city names instead.
That's cool.
So that term is a little different.
And the roads are different here, too.
Yeah.
There's many, many, many roads. So basically, with what communities, were you involved in any other discourse communities in Colorado than you are here because you moved to a different state?
I mentioned previously that I had to quit synchronized swimming once I graduated. And I found that I really missed that, so I'm trying to get back here.
Right.
I remember, like, I was part of my high school discourse community, and that's a little different going from, like, high school life where it's 7 hours a day, like, you have your friends that you see all the time in your classes, to college where it's a few hours a day. and you don't necessarily have all your friends in your classes. So that's been a change.
Have you adapted to being able to not see your friends every day and making other friends with your same
I think so. I like
interests?
this discourse community better because you can kind of pick and choose. Where in high school, like, you see people every single day. Like,
Right.
those are your friends. But here you can choose who you see, who you don't see, which is nice.
Cool. So you mentioned earlier that you wanted to start a club for synchronized swimming. How are you getting the message across, and how are you going to talk to your fellow members?
It's really tough to try to pull in all the members of synchronized swimming because there actually aren't a lot of members within my community. I've tried to put flyers up before, and like the cleaning lady just like took them down. But there's apparently a bulletin at the recreation center that you can post stuff. So that's how we try to get across. And I met this lady who does synchronized swimming in Orlando, and she's really helped to get the word out. She's reached out to other people within synchronized swimming to ask if they have any swimmers that are like going to UCF or plan to go to UCF. So she's been really helpful in like spreading the word for that. And Facebook, that's a really good way.
So social media really to get everybody's attention.
Exactly, social media. We created like events on Facebook, and then we talked to USA Synchro, which is like the big organization, and they actually sent a message out through Facebook, which helps.
So you've gotten responses between, social media and putting up bulletins and everything?
Yeah, we did. We have 8 people so far, and we need to increase our community to 12.
Oh, good. So once you get 12 people, you can talk to the student involvement and get their permission?
Exactly. My community of synchronized swimming has to work with the student involvement in the rec center, and there's so many communities that have to be intertwined for this to work.
That's awesome. So once you do form the community, how are you going to keep it going, and what are you going to do for the members to be able to share the same interests and make sure that they stay together?
We have to recruit. That's the major thing for us. We have to recruit and like get the word out there. And right now we have a lot of experts because
Right.
we have been only like advertising within the community. So it would be really nice to get like novices to the community, people that don't know what synchronized swimming is, and incorporate them to get more people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Overall, basically, how has being members of discourse communities impacted your life in the whole?
I feel like if someone wasn't a member of at least one discourse community, it'd be a really lonely life. Like, it happens and people like stay at home all the time or don't go out, and that would be a really tough life to live. I'm someone who thrives on being busy, like having a purpose in life, so I'm trying to join and like be a part of as many as I can, and that makes me a really happy person.
That sounds amazing. Thank you so much.
No problem.